Hello and welcome to Council Action. I'm Russell Inman, and joining us tonight to talk about the council meeting is Councilman Mark Schmidt with Ward 8.
Good evening. Nice to see you, Russell.
Good to see you. We had a pretty packed meeting tonight.
It was a very good meeting.
Kind of a meaty agenda. Pardon the pun, because the two first public hearings were barbecue restaurants.
Yeah, it seems to be the growing trend. So, yeah, it was good. It was really interesting. It was good to see those two new businesses come into town. While one's an existing business that's being relocated from Ferguson, the old Red's Barbecue in Ferguson that shut down there, he's going to relocate into Florissant. So it's a shame, it's a loss for Ferguson, but it's a gain for Florissant. So.
And they're going into a good location too, where the old Dunkin' Donuts used to be.
Exactly.
That hasn't been vacant for too long,
No.
but it's good to see it filled because they had just really kind of rehabilitated that center.
It's great to see it filled.
It's good to see a good client coming in. Red's is going to be a great fit for that.
Yes, I agree. It's going to be a great location for them. A little smaller building than what he had over in Ferguson, but much more manageable. Plus, it's clean, it's up to date, it's going to be perfect for him, I think. And I think he even mentioned that tonight. It's in good shape because it's brand new. So.
And he's going to be able to use the old drive-through lane as a pickup window, which can be convenient for the call-in orders.
It's going to be perfect. I think the only major addition he's going to have is his barbecue pits on the back side, off the back of the building. It'll be kind of an enclosed, for lack of a better term, patio area. It'll be covered with fencing on three sides, but still open. So it'll kind of look like a smoking area.
Yeah, yeah, I guess it would, wouldn't it?
So, but it'll be good. And then the window will just be basically a pickup window. It won't be a drive-through anymore.
And he mentioned all of his barbecues done with charcoal. So he's got all the specifications needed on how to dispose of that, make sure that he doesn't leave any kind of fire material in the waste bins.
He was in business already, so that's kind of a plus for him. He knew what the county's going to require. He knows what he had to do for him over there, and that's what he said tonight. I know the county regulations. I know them. That's why I did them already. He goes, I shouldn't have any problem with that. So he pretty much was going to be a go. So I think in about 3 months, I thought he said that.
Yeah, watch for him in April.
He should be barbecuing.
Then we had the other barbecue. This is AJB's Barbecue LLC, doing business as AJB's Barbecue. They're in the old strip center off of Patterson, where the Nagels is. And
right, Patterson and Humes. Basically, I think Coltrane's is in there, Nagels is in there. So yeah, that's where he's going to go. And this is a new business. I think this is this gentleman's first jump into entrepreneurship. So we wish him all the good luck. So.
And he made sure to differentiate his between Reds. He gave Reds kudos. He said, Reds is charcoal, and he likes his Missouri oak.
He likes Missouri oak, yeah. So I think he does more with oak. And his barbecue pits will be or his smoker will be inside. So he won't have any exterior cooking facilities. He'll do all his smoking inside the building. And basically because he's just carry out only.
Right.
So there's no table, so majority of his space will be dedicated to his kitchen and prep, so.
And if you want your burn-ins, you go to AJB's.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah, they're hoping probably to open up within the next 3 months as well.
I think he said about 3 months too, so.
We also had a third public hearing tonight. This one was for Enterprise Leasing. They're moving their facility. Now, they have been in that existing kind of house structure since the early 90s, I guess.
That's probably about right, yeah.
Now they're going to move across the street and have a little bit more room to expand.
In a strip center. So, yeah, I'm not sure what the reasoning is there, but I'm sure there is some. Yeah, they're just basically moving across the street into the strip center where Handlebars and the old Club Fitness is at. They're all going to be all the way down at the far end, closer to the park. So, yeah.
I imagine it's going to give them quite a bit more room for parking.
It should. And that's probably ultimately, that's probably what it is. Plus, I'll have an indoor car wash facility instead of their old tent that was outside of their existing facility. So, yeah, it should be a little nicer for them.
Second readings tonight. These went pretty quick, and the first one was postponed, and this one was postponed last meeting too. So, this is the CVS pharmacy that's planning on coming into to Florissant.
Yeah, this is their second store that they wanted to open up on Lindbergh. And we just have some existing questions that really haven't been answered yet. And I guess for lack of a better way, it's a way that we have to get CVS's attention.
Good.
And that's basically what it is.
The question.
That's basically what it is.
The next two second readings passed tonight. There was an ordinance amending the table for the Florissant City Code, adding eastbound St. Denis at Jefferson, and on Jefferson in front of Sacred Heart Church.
It's basically just add additional handicap parking for them.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a fancy term for that, but it's on the eastbound side, which is the side of St. Denis that's in front of the church.
Okay.
Or Jefferson Avenue that's in front of the church there, so, yeah. We're just
Will
giving them a
that
few more
prohibit other
spaces.
parking and just allow for some handicap there?
It'd just be handicap parking
Okay.
and only on the specified days.
Okay, good. Then the ordinance amending the general budget fund, $37,000. It's asset forfeiture. That's going to go for some police training and equipment?
Right. These are funds that are collected through asset recoveries or when police seize either vehicles or homes or property or cash from criminals at the time of their arrest. That money is then turned over to the state. The state holds on to it. Once it's deemed that it's allowable, then it's returned back to the city that made the arrest. And so this is money that's comes into an account back from the state, so then we reappropriate it from that account when we get ready to spend, or the police department gets ready to spend it, and then, so just basically a transfer from one fund to another that allows the police department to spend it.
Excellent. That moved to resolutions, where we had a resolution supporting the City of Florissant's application to the East-West Gateway Council of Government Transportation Improvement Program. Tell me a little bit about this reconstruction phase 2.
This is part of the ongoing Old Town area of our stormwaters and street redevelopment program that's been going on for a number of years now in Old Town. This is another phase of that, and this is simply a resolution supporting East-West Gateway in their grant, allowing us to go forward with this. They're going to give us some grant money from the state and federal funds to do this particular project, which is basically rebuilding and installing new stormwaters, rehabilitating or installing new sidewalks, handicap ramps. I think there's even going to be a bike path put in along the road. So it should be a very, very nice project. Unfortunately, it's not one of those projects that are going to start tomorrow. By the time everything's all said and done, and it's probably slated for 2018.
Now, who is the East-West Gateway, and why do they contribute this to the city?
Well, East-West Gateway is a coalition of the metropolitan area and the east side of the river as well, of appointees by the state, by the county, and from the east side as well as from Illinois. It's a group of gentlemen that get together and have the funding and look at different programs and projects that are throughout the metropolitan area. They have a set of funds that are available to them from the state and federal levels, and they kind of appropriate those funds to the deserving projects. These projects are not only just municipal like this one, but are as far-reaching as a real rebuilding of an entire road.
Okay.
I think East-West Gateway was heavily involved when the county did the new 141, the initiative to that. So it's the most efficient way for the state and the county to spend the funds. Without them doing it, they pass it on to East-West, who has more intimate knowledge of what's going on in the metro area. So, yeah.
Terrific. There is the ordinance for the barbecue cooking area. That went on the first reading. That was for Reds. There was a first reading for the AJB's barbecue, and there was a first reading for the Enterprise Renter Car.
Right.
So I imagine we'll see those come up next meeting for
They'll
the
all
second
come
and
up for
third.
the second and third in the next meeting. Yep.
And the next three readings all went through, all three readings tonight to push through, and they passed. And we had the ordinance amending Title III, Schedule 3 for stop intersections. Is this adding a two-way stop?
It's adding a two-way stop in a area over in Ward 2 that Mr. Jones. This has been, I know, submitted to Traffic Commission a couple of different times. Most recently by Mr. Jones. I know previous to that, the other councilmen in Ward 2 have also run this by the Traffic Commission. And the Traffic Commission is set up for a reason. It's an independent look at our traffic and ordinances in the city of Florissant. And they are designated with coming up with when and where stop signs should or shouldn't be put in, as well as other traffic flows, parking, whatever it might be. They have input from the police department, as well as 9 residents from the city, 1 from each ward. It's easy to say that, you know, you don't want a stop sign at every corner in the city. I think everybody would realize that stop signs don't always solve problems, but sometimes it's hard to explain that to residents who see the problem day to day. And Mr. Jones actually called me about this and was kind of perplexed because the Traffic Commission had turned it down. I said, well, you know, I explained to him in the process, I said, that's, you know, it's set up that way. Now what you might want to do is do it this way. And the way he's done this is a 6-month trial.
Okay.
He hasn't gone behind the back of the Traffic Commission. He's simply letting the residents find out for themselves whether this will or won't work. They're having a speeding problem. They're having some other issues with traffic at this intersection. So Mr. Jones proposed this ordinance, and it's only a 6-month trial. So after 6 months, we'll be able to go back, look at the data, and see if the stop sign, and let the residents chime in. Did the stop sign solve the problem that you were having? If they don't solve the problem, then there's no reason to make them permanent. If it solves the problem and it stays under control, then we can go back to the Traffic Commission with more data
And say this,
and say,
look,
here's
this
the,
might work.
you know, this might work. Here's the new data. This is what's happened in the 6 months. So it's just another chance for the Traffic Commission and the council to kind of work together to solve a problem without really butting heads against each other.
Sure.
So I think it'll work. So
Chance to
we'll
see if it really is a problem.
Exactly.
Excellent. Then there was an ordinance amending the revenue account in the amount of $8,200. This is for capital improvements from a budget account?
Right. What happened was we got a grant from the state of Missouri. We got the $8,200 check from the state of Missouri as a grant for the purchase of these ballistic shields. So again, this is a matter of we get a check, we cash a check, put it in an account, well then we have to move that money from that one account into the other account so that the $8,200 now can be reappropriated and spent by the police department in order to purchase these ballistic shields. And I believe there's 6 of them. I think that's what they're wanting to buy with. I think it is 6. Yeah, it is 6. It's 6 ballistic shields.
Okay. And then the last bill for first reading that went through in all 3 readings tonight was an ordinance authorizing appropriation of $60,000 from the Park Improvement Fund budget for capital additions to the Nature Lodge erosion repair.
Right.
We have seen, there was quite a bit of erosion damage there.
I guess to go back a few months, for people that don't know what happened, Greenway Trails put in a nice new trail down at the bottom of the hill from the Nature Lodge along the river. Beautiful. Unfortunately, what happened was we had some wet weather, and actually the hill had some erosion problems. They actually slid down and destroyed the trail. So we had a major catastrophe on our hands. A lot of people, I think, knew that, and it's been an ongoing problem. Greenway has just, in their infinite wisdom, decided to stand behind their work. They're going to come in, redo the trail, and make it right. Our portion of that was to help solve the erosion problem from the lodge on down. So the city's responsibility, so that the Greenway Trails would go ahead and repair the trail to some tune of $300,000, we're going to spend some money and have our own contractor come in and do some erosion mitigation.
Okay.
Basically put in some riprap channels in order for the water to safely travel down the hill on rock rather than just run wild down the hill and erode it. So that's what this is for, is the appropriation for that. It's already gone out for bid. I think we got a bid back for $49,000. So this is the 60. It's usually a bid plus a contingency in case they have some problems or we have to have some change orders. So, but that's what that's for. So it should solve the problem. It's in order to get the trail back. I think this is a wise investment of city money to help solve the problem.
Is there an estimated time as to when this trail will really be back in full function?
Well, that's the one reason why we passed this in 3 readings tonight. Time is of the essence. They want to try and get started now so that they can get it done by the springtime.
Terrific.
And also, because they're going to have to tear out some vegetation in order to do this. Well, then you want bare ground, so they've got to replant vegetation, and you want that vegetation to take hold, again, to hold the soil. So it's kind of an immediate process where we want to get the plantings in the ground at the proper time so that they do take hold and they do what they're supposed to, which is hold the soil, and then put the riprap in.
Good, good.
So it should be good.
That completes our meeting, Mark. What is going on in your ward? I know the mayor had mentioned some good things going on for Florissant with the tennis courts and some.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, that was really good news. We found that out at the very end of the meeting. The mayor had put in, as everybody knows, we pay, as county residents, we pay a tax into the Parks Fund for the county. Well, as part of that, some of those funds are returned to the municipalities in the form of grants. And each year, cities will submit grant applications to the County Parks Board in order to receive those grants. And we have received them in the past. Well, this year, the administration submitted one for the Tower Courts up there on Florissant Road, right in front of the water tower. You'll know we put up new fencing and new lights and did a lot of the rehab work around it, but we hadn't really attacked the courts themselves, which is the surface. And we've been having this discussion for about the last year or so over what to do with those courts and what to do with resurfacing.
It can be an expensive project.
And that's what we keep finding out, that, yeah, the subsurface of those courts is probably in bad shape, that once we start tearing up the existing asphalt, we might find in some real problems. So before we budgeted a large sum of money, he wanted to go ahead and do this grant. So it was perfect. He submitted the grant for about $249,000, and the grant was approved. So we'll receive the basically $249,000 in order for that to resurface our tennis courts.
Great. That's a really nice core area of Florissant, next to Fritz's, close to the donut shop. Everybody drives by it.
That's the key. Everybody drives by it, and you want it to look nice.
You bet.
That's the whole key to this whole thing, is what we've all said. It's an aesthetic thing to do. Yeah, the courts don't get used as much as they used to, but we're hoping that tennis has a resurgence. And if we surface them right, we'll get the tennis players back to those courts, which will really be nice.
You sure will. That's good. Well, what else is going on in Florissant and in your ward, Mark?
Nothing particular in my ward. We've got some really interesting things going on in the city. I know Culver's is getting ready to do their grand opening, which everybody's been waiting for.
It's just weeks away.
I think Sweet Peas just had their grand opening, and they've just opened up. But I think everybody's really been waiting on the Culver's, and I think they got delayed a little bit with the weather with being able to put their parking lot in. But I happened to drive by there tonight, and the parking lot's in, they were striped, they were doing some fine tuning outside, but I think they're getting ready to open up somewhere around early February 2nd, February 4th, something like that. So look for them to be opening up very, very soon, which will really be nice. Yeah. And I know there's some other things that are in the works. We got some other businesses that have been looking at us that we've been dealing with. So as soon as we get more information, nothing I can really say. It just, sometimes those negotiations are very sensitive. You're just, do they want to come in? They may want to come in, and you're trying to, help them. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of new things that are going to happen too soon. We're getting some really encouraging vibes back from even just our own businesses in town that want to remodel and stuff. So it's going to be good.
Any updates on the revitalization of that? Is it Madrid Plaza? That's at
Madrid Plaza.
Ferry and
That's
Parker's Fur?
Still an ongoing project. as in years past, and it's always been, it just seems to be a slow process.
Okay.
I know everybody wants it to happen tomorrow, and I am included in that, administration's included in that. We all want it, but I think this one will happen. It's just going to take a little bit of time. They're still doing some due diligence.
Okay.
I think they're still trying to decide exactly what they want to do. But I think it's going to happen. We just have to be patient. That's all. The best thing I can tell residents in the city is just be patient with Plaza Madrid. I truly believe it's going to happen. We just have to be a little patient.
Well, Mark, thanks for your input in tonight's meeting. Thanks for the detail that you're able to share with the public watching tonight. I know they appreciate it. It's good to be able to kind of go through this agenda and hear it from kind of the more human side of government. So
Well, I appreciate that, Russell, and I'm glad that hopefully residents get as much out of this as I enjoy putting into it. It's good to get a little bit more of an insight on council meetings too. So,
good. Thank you, Mark.
thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm Russell Inman. This has been Council Action. We'll see you next time.